Yeah, mine too.
Hello. Nope. Don't talk over me. Okay, are we ready? It's okay. It's okay. Hello and welcome to Intro Skippers. Think there's nothing to stream? Well, think again, because we've got you. I'm a professional host and entertainment journalist. My name is Kim.
My name is Jason Charles Miller, and I am a professional entertainer.
And today we're talking about Casa Bonita, Mi Amor, a documentary from MTV Films, now streaming on Paramount Plus, released in late 2024. This is the documentary I used to convince two friends to fly to Denver with me to go to a Mexican restaurant.
That's amazing. So you actually used that. They didn't know about it or anything, and you just were like, check this out.
I said, do you want to go to a $40 million Mexican restaurant from the creators of South Park? And here's a documentary about it. And the answer was yes.
Do you think you could have just said that and they would have been like, okay, we're in? Because I would be, all right, I'm in. I wouldn't have to see the documentary. But I already knew. Sorry, my dog is trying to get in here. So for me, I knew I had been to the old Casa Bonita before they
redid everything. So when it smelled like chlorine and beans.
Oh, yeah. And it did.
Oh, great.
And the food was bad.
We'll talk about that because I went to the good version.
Yeah, and I haven't been to the good version yet. So this is so cool in a way.
Yeah. Well, I actually joined it. I actually joined their founders club so that I could get on the email list so that I'd be able to make reservations through their link, and they only release 1 month at a time. Maybe that'll change soon because I think this did actually open in May of 2023 and it is now over 2 years later.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe that'll change.
So it'll probably slow down a bit, you would think.
Maybe, but it was pretty crowded when I was there. Maybe we should talk about the documentary first, though, and then our experiences.
Okay, let's talk about the doc first.
Okay. So Casa Bonita was created in 1974. The documentary opens with a commercial from that era, narrated by Ricardo Montalban. It used to be a Jocelyn's department store. I've never heard of that. It's 52,000 square feet. And it was weird from the get-go. So the original creators were like, let's make this weird restaurant. And they did. And for a while, it was the highest volume Mexican restaurant and most visited attraction in Colorado for a while. If you haven't seen anything about it or the South Park episode about it, it's got several levels, cliff divers, caves, a puppet show.
Does it still have a guy in a gorilla suit?
Yeah. Well, the gorilla was wearing a bikini, so maybe it's a feminine gorilla, but I don't know. Yeah, there's a gorilla running around. It doesn't make sense. None of it ever made sense.
No.
But I think that's part of the charm. It's got a kitschy 1970s positive enthusiasm about it, even though a lot of it does not make sense. That I think the vibe really worked for at least Trey Parker and to a lesser extent, Matt Stone.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely Trey Parker heavy.
Mm-hmm.
You might say Matt Stone made an appearance here and there in the documentary, but it certainly was Trey's labor of love, it seemed like.
So I looked up their net worths.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Stone is worth $700 million and Trey Parker is worth $600 million. Is he worth $100 million less because of Casa Bonita?
It could be.
Also, I want to talk. Is it Casa Bonita or Casa Bonita? Because everyone in the doc says Casa, but we know in Spanish that's not how it's pronounced, right?
Yeah. I mean, but we live in LA and we hear Spanish all the time. So
yeah, there's a lot of Spanish in LA. Is that just an inflection?
It could be. It could just be a Colorado accent creeping in.
Am I supposed to call it Casa Bonita or Casa Bonita? It's like, you know how we have Notre Dame? It should be Notre Dame. but we just all got attached to the incorrect pronunciation.
Yeah, we Americanized it. And
we ruined it. Yep.
Yeah.
Baton Rouge. That ain't right either.
Maybe like you, my first exposure to Casa Bonita. I'm going to call it Casa Bonita. And I think you call it that too, don't you? Let's call it that.
I'll accept either.
Okay. My first exposure to it was the South Park episode. So I thought it was just made up. I thought it was fake.
It's real. It was based on the 2003 South Park episode, Casa Bonita.
In 2013, I was on tour, and my whole band went there. And I actually have a video on my YouTube page. You got to scroll down, but there's a video from 2013 on my YouTube page, and the title of the video is Casa Bonita is Real.
Yes. I think the people of Colorado would probably be like, obviously.
But to the rest of us, it was quite the surprise. So
to give a quick rundown of that original episode, basically Kyle is going to go to Casa Bonita to celebrate his birthday, and Cartman is psyched, but Kyle says, "Oh, I'm not taking you. You're a jerk. We're not friends." And so he decides to take Butters instead. So Cartman manipulates Butters into thinking it's the end of the world, and he hides him in a bomb shelter so that he can go. But then everyone gets worried and upset because a child is missing. And, eventually Cartman tricks Kyle into thinking he's a good guy and he's turned over a new leaf. And then they go to Casa Bonita and they get the call. Mrs. Broflovsky gets the call and says like, "Oh, really? Oh, that's what happened. Yes, Cartman is right here." So he runs in and he speed runs Casa Bonita. So you're like, "Yeah, Black Bart's cave. Oh, so scary. More sopapillas, please." And he just runs around and the cops get him, and he jumps off the cliff diver part, which, by the way, if you do that, you will get a lifetime ban. And they go, "Well, son, you worried the whole town and you lost all your friends and you ruined everything. Was it worth it?" And he says,
"Yeah."
No.
He doesn't. What does he say?
"Totally."
Oh, totally.
While he's floating on his back.
Yeah.
So it really is the Disneyland of Mexican restaurants, like they say in the episode. It's really cool and great, but it wasn't always that way, because after the original owners, after some time, they sold it to another company, and that other company just did not care. And things went really downhill. Things were horrible, gross, run down. The new owners just did not love it. It was very dangerous. Like Jason mentioned, the food was bad in that incarnation. What was the food like?
Well, they pretty much treated it like they were like slumlords, basically. Like they just did the bare minimum to keep it alive, to keep it open. The food was very minimal, very bland, especially coming from LA, where we have such amazing Mexican food.
Yeah, that's the wild part. We have access to good Mexican food, even Oaxaca.
We have access to possibly the greatest Mexican food in America. So it was very bland. Even the sopapillas were like, but you went for the experience. You saw the sheriff, you saw the guy in the ape suit, you saw the cliff divers, you saw Black Bart's cave, you saw lots of like little fun things to check out. There was like another little smaller area where I think I heard that a mariachi band would play, but they weren't playing when we got there.
Oh, it's too bad.
I know. But there were those like things for kids, that the rides for kids where you get on it's like a little horse and you hang on to the bars and you put like 25 cents in and it rocks back and forth.
Yeah, the things that are outside grocery stores.
Yeah, they had some of those. I think they got rid of those in the new one.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it was bare minimum, but we still got to go, and I can't wait to go back because I want to compare them,
I mean, I've never been to the bad version, so I'll never know what it was like. Did you go to the puppet show in Sorcero?
We went sort of like around lunchtime during the week because that was the day that we could be there. So I don't think there was a puppet show at that time.
I did, and there was a puppet show at that time.
Well, that's great.
I'm sorry. Sorry to brag.
No, oh, it's okay. No, I remember my friend that took us there even warned us about the food when we went.
So this documentary really bland and crappy.
Yeah, but this documentary really, like, set the record straight on what it's like now.
Mm-hmm. And well, they had a whole medley of people saying what you said. We're like, the food here is terrible. It sucks. It's gross. I don't want to eat this. And I thought the food was decent when I went. In the documentary, they were like, oh, we got to go to Loca. Loca is the best. She's a James Beard multiple time nominee. I would say the food was pretty good. It was better than I expected. If it were, it's like something I would order off DoorDash.
Okay. Yeah.
But the sopapillas were great. So I'm surprised you said they were bad.
Oh, well, you got the better ingredients, I suppose.
It was basically a beignet with honey on it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that not what you had?
That's what we had, but just it wasn't that great. And maybe they used like government honey.
I don't think the government owns any bees.
They own cheese. I know that. They definitely.
That's government cheese, not government bees.
But think about it. Imagine the taste of what a government honey would taste like, and that's
it sounds like
I feel like it tasted like
fake honey. Like when you go to like a fast food restaurant that serves biscuits, and they'll be like, here's the honey sauce, and it's a yellow liquid, and you're like, this is not honey.
Mm-hmm.
This is some kind of sugary sauce with honey flavors added later. I thought it was great. I had a mojito. I had the taco salad. It was serviceable. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. What about the people that you went with? Did they have different meals?
Yes. There was a burrito that was enjoyed. There was, I believe, the nachos. And I think the cheese quesadillas. How do I remember this? Well, I do.
Yeah.
And we all had drinks. I thought it would be more expensive than it was, but it might just be that I'm used to LA prices.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of, like, if we're paying for the entertainment, I think I got my money's worth.
Yeah. Did you get to see cliff divers?
Yeah, constantly. So I picked the premium seating. If you do that now, folks, pick premium seating because then you'll be by the cliffs. There are some tables that are like in caves, which it's fine, but you're in a cave. You can't even see the middle of the restaurant because you're in a cave. Right. So I think there was an upcharge to it, but I thought it was
worth it. For the cave?
No, for the premium seating by the cliff divers. Like if you look at the original South Park episode when they have the cliff diver jump off, there's like a table to the left, and then that's basically where I was.
Wow, you got that table. That's great.
Yeah, I rewatched Casa Bonita, the episode before this. It looks really not correct, except for the outside where they're in a strip mall and it's by a 99-cent store.
They really did get the front right for sure.
It was good. Sorry, you're gonna say something?
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna say, let's talk about, ultimately what happened on the documentary to where things just kept culminating, and they realized they had like 25 air conditioning units and they had to scrap them all. They nothing worked. They had to redo everything.
Basically what happened was this other company let Casa Bonita slide into shambles. And by 2021, it was for sale. And, it was in deep, deep disrepair. So Trey Parker and Matt Stone, they buy it for $3.5 million. Seems like a bargain, right? For something that big. But they gave themselves a budget for $6.5 million to fix it up. and they needed way more. Spoiler alert. It ended up being
Way
a
more.
$40 million project. But, it's weird. They can afford it. I'm sorry. They can afford it. It's fine. And if I were that rich, I would probably blow my money on something stupid that I love too. So I love them for that. So the name of the documentary came from an Elvis Acapulco movie called Fun in Acapulco in 1963. And they watch it in the movie or the documentary because Trey says his dad pointed it out to him, and they listen to the music and he goes, "This is Casa Bonita. It's a white guy singing half Spanish, half English." And so they actually use those Elvis songs in the cliff diving now. There's like a few different routines they do, but I recognized
that's great.
Yeah. So there's a line that it's like something, mi amor. And then he goes, Casa Bonita, mi amor. I drink on my bebida. And it's just like half Spanish, half English, like not really trying to be authentic. But he was like, "This is Casa Bonita." And then later he said, "This is a place from 1973 trying to be the late 1800s. That is Casa Bonita." It just seems like he kept getting struck by new ideas over and over, which
that's true.
It seems par for the course for him and how South Park and their other creative ventures are made.
Yeah, they covered that a little bit, his kind of changing mind. One thing that we need to point out too is when it was for sale in 2021, it had closed during COVID. It had not reopened. And I know that for as much in shambles that the restaurant was, people in the community were actually really upset that it had closed. And they said, with it being closed, it's like part of our community is missing.
Yeah. I mean, that's in the documentary too, where people are like, "Save Casa Bonita, save it." That's a really recurring part of the documentary where it's like the audience or the local reaction. And then they hear that Trey and Matt bought it and they go like, "They're never going to succeed. They can't change a single thing." Spoiler alert, they should change a lot of single things. That place was a death trap.
Yeah, I love
such a mess.
I love when they're testing the electricity by the cliff divers and they're like, "Oh, if the water goes up 2 more inches, everyone's going to be electrocuted."
Oh, and they have to swim through this little jagged hole that has pipes running through it. And if their suit gets caught, they'll drown. And then they'll go into this luxury shower, and it's the grossest, nastiest looking shower backstage. It looks better now that they've changed it, but oh man, it looked so unsafe on so many levels. If it's not electrocution, it's poison, or it's the terrible amount of stuff that's just in the air ducts, when they cleaned it and all that gray stuff came out.
I think it was asbestos, wasn't it? Maybe.
I want to say it was dust and dirt, and not think that everybody is going to get mesothelioma.
Well, I mean, they had to clean it out, so it was all cleaned out before you went there for sure.
Good for me.
It was interesting that the governor got involved.
Yeah, he had them on his show or something, and then later he went to their anniversary concert and made a proclamation. That was interesting. I do want to point out that they also were recording another episode during this documentary, and it is 2023. I mean, I guess we're doing in multiples of 3 because the original episode came out in 2003, you went in 2013, and this new episode that's in this documentary, which is also clearly referencing Casa Bonita, was 2023. But wow. I watched that episode too to prepare for this. It's called Dick and Bow's Hot Dogs.
I didn't see that one yet.
Well, I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was a lot like the old South Park, where it was more like childish and funny and a little less cynical. But it's actually based on another restaurant that was failing and went for sale in Colorado that Trey Parker wanted to buy.
And did he?
No, it was based on the Coney Island hot dog stand. It's not really in Denver, but it's nearby. and they wanted to save it and buy it because it went up for sale as well for, I think, $1.5 million. But Trey said, quote, "We just can't take on another broken restaurant project right now." But I looked into it, and someone else, the son of the original owner, bought it, and it's open again. But in this episode, Cartman lives in a hot dog stand based on a different storyline that's unrelated. I'm not explaining it. And he wants to convince Butters to fund him and Kenny fixing up the hot dog stand. And there's so many quotes that were clearly inspired by them working on Casa Bonita, where, you know, they're buying a classic property that the people of Colorado will flock to and love. It gets fixed up to have plenty of fun stuff for the kids. Butters runs out of money, and he yells at them over the phone because Cartman and Kenny are just dicking around, basically. And he reports like, "I'm out of money. You've wasted all my money." And there's locals and reporters talking about the project too. And just like 2003's Casa Bonita, it's about Cartman manipulating Butters into doing something he doesn't want to do.
You know, sometimes those things are evergreen. Cartman manipulating Butters, like, how can you go wrong?
For entertainment purposes. Cartman being obsessed with an old Colorado standby, that is real. And really, it's Trey wants to buy it.
I would think buying a hot dog stand and fixing it up would be exponentially less than buying Casa Bonita and fixing it up.
Yeah. I bet that hot dog stand didn't take $40 million to fix.
I hope not.
In the episode, they put like slides and a mermaid and fun stuff all over the hot dog stand, which seems a lot like Casa Bonita. But in reality, the hot dog stand is just a hot dog stand.
So it's just sort of like a food kiosk.
It's like a shape like a hot dog. It's like a small building shaped like a hot dog.
Okay.
You know, back in that era where they'd make buildings shaped like food.
Yes. There up until very recently, there was a Thai restaurant that was in the same building that used to be a hot dog stand. So there's a hot dog on top of this Thai restaurant, which was really charming. That was at Western and Hollywood, but alas, it is gone because some giant structure went up instead.
That's the way Hollywood is, baby.
Yeah.
That's too bad. I went to a Thai restaurant that was inside an old Taco Bell, and it was very obviously an old Taco Bell. And I'm pretty sure they just kept the sign and they changed taco to Thai.
Hey, you know, that's efficient. It's efficient.
It's like that Korean barbecue place in Burbank, and the sign clearly looks like the P.F. Chang sign.
And what does it say? Is it called just like Chang's or something?
It's called Han, but you can't spell Chang without Han. I'm just saying.
You're right. Just take off all the letters.
Free letters. You've made a profit already, baby.
You could sell the letters. That'd be great.
I have a question about the old Casa Bonita.
Yes.
Did the food come out of a hole in the wall like it did in the documentary?
It did. I recall you did get to have some interaction when ordering it, but then it just came out of a hole. A tray came out of a hole, and not Trey Parker.
He's like, "Hey, what's up? It's me, Trey Parker." Wow. I just had a server bring it to me, so I don't know where the food came from. Yeah, maybe was it not table service before?
No, you had to wait by the hole.
Oh, clip that.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Well,
hopefully that's factually right.
It just, you had to wait by the hole. Back in my day, we waited by the hole and we liked it.
While riding our dinosaurs to work.
Well, the puppet show now, they won't let anyone film it. But the stars of the puppet show are the old food from before. So
really,
there's like, they're like, "Hey, we got fired because we suck, and there's better food now, so we're doing the puppet show." And then like, one of the characters is a taco, one is a beef combo plate. and it's like a whole plate standing up vertically with like an enchilada and some goo and some brown stuff. I don't know. It doesn't look appetizing.
That's
But
really
I thought
cute.
that was a cute way to call back to the roots without making us eat that food.
Yeah. Could you imagine if they were like, listen, you've got to eat the old food just to see how good the new food is. Just have a
Shut
small
up
taste.
and eat your slop. Okay, we brought everyone the small plate of slop so you can be grateful.
Mm-hmm.
So you didn't see Sorcero.
I did not get to see Sorcero. No.
We're not allowed to film that either, but it's a magic show. It's not as good as what we see at the Magic Castle, but it is a magic show. I'll just say that. I'll leave it there.
That we're also not allowed to film. We're not even allowed to take photos inside the Magic Castle.
True. That's true. Yeah. Only on that step and repeat outside.
Right.
And like step and repeat's no fun. Well, you can take your picture in the front room with the owl. Right?
Oh, yeah. Right before the bookcase opens.
Mm-hmm. And then no more.
Anyone listening who doesn't know what we're talking about, there's a place in LA called the Magic Castle, and it is exactly what you think it is.
Thank you, Jason. I forgot not everyone knows what that is. It's a private club for magicians, and you can't go without an invitation, and you have to dress up, and you can't film anything, and there's magic everywhere, and the food is expensive.
And good, though. I would say the food's very good.
I've never actually eaten dinner. I've just eaten at the bar.
I actually had dinner there once, like formally at a table and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. And so I guess if you work in entertainment here in Hollywood, sooner or later, you end up meeting somebody who's like a voice actor, but also a magician, or just something and also a magician. And then they bring you to the Magic Castle. It's sort of a rite of passage. I guess you know that you've lived here a certain amount of time to then get an invite to the Magic Castle.
Yeah. I mean, I've had fun. I've had some awkward times, but I've mostly had fun at the Magic Castle. I went with a guy who was a part-time magician. I will not name him. And he was like, oh, you should go on a date with your boyfriend. And I was like, okay. And we went, and then he just like hung out with us the whole time. And he was like, usually people give me a tip or buy me dinner. And I was like, you're third wheeling and I have to buy you dinner. So I did. And then I don't really hang out with him anymore.
Yeah, that sounds like somebody I would not want to hang out with.
I mean, it was nice, question mark, but also a little weird.
I'm suddenly not available when that person wants to hang out again.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll just leave it there and not give any more identifying information. But Magic Castle, cool place. How did we get on this tangent? We're talking about Casa Bonita.
We were sort of comparing it. You said that it was not like the Magic Castle, and then
it's not as good.
We went on a Magic Castle tangent.
I would say it's more of a performance show than a magic show.
Okay.
If you get my drift. Yeah.
Well, but sorry, what's the name of the sorcerer again? Sorcero?
Sorcero.
And is that a human or is that also a puppet?
It's a person. Fully covered head to toe with a mask. So I guess anyone can play Sorcero.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then things happen around that person.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Mm-hmm. I would say go for the giggles and don't go for the magics.
Sure. I have a friend who loves dating magicians.
Why?
I'm not sure, but she was like, oh, I love magicians. I've dated many of them. I'm like, do you mean musicians? She's like, no, magicians. Just wanted to make sure.
You're biased. You just think everyone wants to date musicians because you are one.
Well, I mean, we all have our own biases, right?
I used to date stand-up comics, and let me just say, don't do that.
Okay, I'll make sure I don't.
Yeah.
I can only imagine.
I mean, some people are well-adjusted, but many people are not.
And I know plenty of stand-up comics that would tell you that they are not adjusted at all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about that part of my life. I am
Casa
married
Bonita.
now to
Back to Casa
not
Bonita.
a stand-up comedian. So Casa Bonita, where were we? So they pay and they pay. They have to refill the pool because it was leaking. They have to replace the entire HVAC system, which alone was what, $4 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have to just redo everything, and it's a death trap. It's a poison trap. It stinks. The food sucks. It's falling apart. There's like a beam in there where one of the builders said, "Oh, it wasn't a matter of if this was going to fall down. It was when it was going to fall down. Was it going to fall down with children inside? This place is a mess." Smash cut 2, they spent $40 million. The crowd is like wondering, when is this place going to open? When is it going to open? We want to go so badly. We're camping outside. We're spying through our car windows. We're taking vacation time so we can stare at Casa Bonita. And, they just make it to their May 2023 opening date because Loca's like, wouldn't it be badass if this opened on Cinco de Mayo? I don't know if it opened exactly on Cinco de Mayo, but it was May at least. Mayo. And they open and it seems to work despite, there's a lot of cacophony of, the performers want to see Matt and Trey, and no, the builders need to see Matt and Trey, and they have a preview night, and Trey describes it as, that wasn't Casa Bonita, that was a nightclub in San Diego. And I know exactly what he's talking about from when we go to Comic-Con.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's a whole thing.
You and I have both been to too many nightclubs in San Diego, practically against our will.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
I went to
probably been to every single one.
The Zachary Levi parties before they stopped and he got in a fight with Comic-Con. Yeah, quite a few. I do know what he means, and what he means is, this is douchey, this is loud. I think in an episode of Solar Opposites, they have a bar in the gas lamp district is one of the settings, and I think it's because of the Comic-Con scene as well. And I'm sure that's how Matt and Trey know it.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Why else would they be in San Diego?
They got better things to do. They sure
Mm-hmm.
do. And
now,
go ahead.
Back to the 40 million for 1 second. I know they can afford it, but at the same time, they came from humble beginnings, and I think the concept of spending $40 million is pretty incredible. It almost reminded me in certain times of the show Welcome to Wrexham, which is a much longer show.
Watched that? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love that show, but they buy a football team, a soccer team, and the amount of money they have to spend to get the facilities there going and everything else is kind of a similar vibe.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's just two rich guys turning a thing around out of love and a TV show or documentary. So they do get it open. Trey's daughter has a lovely time, and he says, "This is what I always wanted. This is why." And she gets a little prize, and she goes to the wishing well, and she goes on a little journey with Captain Isabella. It's all very sweet. I did 2 of those things. I could not go on the Captain Isabella thing because I'm an adult.
Kids only?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
I mean, maybe if I was real annoying about it, but I wasn't going to be. But yeah, I went to the wishing well. It's cool. They give you little coins that say Casa Bonita. I may have stolen one. And you throw it in, and the guy goes, "Your dream will come true tomorrow at 1:30 p.m.
Oh, wow.
Which is great.
What happened at 1:30 p.m. the next day?
I got on a plane and went back to LA. I don't know. Yeah, it's my dream. And I got like a little prize out of a pearl from a machine inside, like a nautical kind of machine. And it was just a cute little octopus toy. It was nice.
That's great.
Little freebies here and there.
It was bittersweet at the end of the documentary when Trey is looking around and realizing he's never really going to get to enjoy it the way he did when he was a kid, but he's glad that everyone else can.
Can I say something? I think that's bullshit. I think that's bullshit. I think he can enjoy it if he wants to. He could say, this is a private event now. And the whole crew of South Park gets to bring their families. And there we are. No one's going to bother me. It's great. But I mean, in the sense that we can never return to our childhoods. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But I think it ends on a nice note. It says he's continuing to have new ideas for the place. They show a part where he and Matt are recording the voices for the two little skeletons outside Black Bart's cave. Where they go,
That's
oh,
right.
Scary. Oh no, it's so scary. And I sat there and listened to them because I wanted to hear it. And it's really funny. The whole cave is kind of like a kid's fun house, like the ones at carnivals. Is that the way it was when you were there?
Yeah, it was. And there were a couple of areas that were rather tight to fit through.
Was it like at the Tom Sawyer Island at Disneyland where things pop out and scare you and you could theoretically crash into a rock wall and scrape yourself?
No, it wasn't. Nothing popped out and scared us. The only thing was the skull at the end or whatever. But yeah, it was pretty
like
bare boned.
The mouth that you walk into, like it's like a
that was
dinosaur or
there.
something. Okay, that's still there.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
it sounds like they sort of kept the bones in a way, but like redid everything. But kept what you liked about it.
They have a lot of the old stuff in a cabinet near the front, like a glass case that you could look at and remember.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because it is kind of stuck in the 70s in a way. And it is kind of stuck in the 1800s fake in a way. Fake 1800s and fake Mexican 1970s. And that's the vibe. And it's worth it.
Yeah. So, in conclusion, the documentary inspired you to go.
I was already going to go. And this is how I pulled other people into going, because I'm kind of like, I had heard about it from the old episode and I did some online rabbit holing on it. And I was looking at pictures and looking at their old website, which by the way sucked, but in a great way, kind of like the Space Jam website.
Wait, did you find my 2013 video and that's what inspired you?
I'll watch it now. I'll watch it.
Okay.
I'll definitely watch it. But
sure you will.
No, I wanted to see, and it was like, this food is nasty. And I was like, yeah, but still. So I was already interested in the gross version. That doesn't exist anymore. I kind of wish I could go to the gross version, but like Trey said, you can never go back. You can never go back.
Well, I'll recount it for you as best I can over some dinner some night when we're talking about the podcast.
We've got to find the worst Mexican restaurant in LA to recreate that moment.
That's the problem. It's a good problem to have, but there are way more good Mexican restaurants in LA than there are bad. I will say that.
Well, now I want to discover what's the worst Mexican restaurant in LA. Then we can buy it and fix it.
Oh, that's it. From all of our podcast profits.
Hey, Inside Baseball.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kim laughed so hard that it distorted her microphone.
It really did, and it blew out. My levels went into the red zone, and I'm sorry I did that, but I was laughing at my own livelihood that's happening right now. It was too meta.
We went too deep.
All right.
But anyway.
Hey, subscribe to the podcast so we can buy the worst Mexican restaurant we can find and fix it.
Yeah. And let people know about this, okay? Even if, I know sometimes people are like, oh, well, I didn't watch that show or I didn't see that movie. Well, now we have a lot of episodes, and more are coming all the time every week where you can listen even if you didn't know the show.
The point is you're supposed to find new stuff and we're showing you, right? Like I listen to podcasts about TV and movies I haven't seen yet because maybe I might like to.
I think it's that whole thing, and you and I have talked about this before. You don't care about spoilers. I kind of don't care about spoilers either, because I've certainly read books that became movies and I knew something was going to happen, but I still wanted to see it on the screen.
I just watched Andor, And The Last of Us, I sure as hell know how they both those stories end. I don't care. I'm more interested in the journey than I am about the concrete ending, because I want to see the mastery and the artistry that went into getting there and telling the story and unfolding it a certain way.
Yeah.
It's the journey, man.
I agree.
And speaking of journeys, you need to take a journey soon, don't you?
I'm taking a journey in a few hours, so we should probably wrap up, unfortunately.
Jason is a working musician, working entertainer, and he leaves sometimes out of the state, not to Denver, Colorado, but other places.
I've certainly been to Denver, but not going to Denver this time. But when this airs, I will be back from where I'm going, because we're recording this a couple of days before. But yeah, it's becoming busy season for you and for me. So
that's why we skipped last week.
But technically we didn't. We put out a 30-minute episode.
I didn't watch anything and take notes. I just talked about myself.
Okay. But you know what? Sometimes that's fun too.
Well, I don't know. Well, let us know if you think that's fun. introskipperspod@gmail.com. And if you like the show, leave a 5-star review and no fewer stars, please. And thank you.
And leave a comment. Leave comments
leave a 5-star comment. All right. Well, I think we have to go, but thank you for joining us this week on Intro Skippers. Thank you for not skipping us and skipping this outro. And check out Casa Bonita, Mi Amor, now streaming on Paramount Plus, if you liked what we had to say about it. All right. Bye-bye.
Question mark?
Okay. Bye. The end?
Just this week.